Now let's move to parts of a sentence. A sentence is made up of two parts, subject and predicate. So it is very important, children, that you know that a sentence is made up of two parts, subject and predicate. Now what is a subject? A subject is that part of a sentence which names what the sentence is about. Which means subject is that part of a sentence which tells us what we are talking about. For example, let's see this example. The birds are flying in the sky. When we read the sentence, the birds are flying in the sky, we think what the sentence is talking about. What are we talking about in this sentence? We are talking about the birds. Yes, we are talking about the birds. So this part will be called subject, because this is the part that tells us what the sentence is about. This sentence is talking about the birds. Now let's move to the second part of a sentence, predicate. What is predicate? It is that part of a sentence which says something about the subject. Yes, children, predicate is that part of a sentence which tells us what we are talking about the subject, what the sentence is telling us about the subject. When we see the example, the birds are flying in the sky, we all know that the birds is the subject because this part tells us we are talking about the birds. But what are we talking about the birds? What the sentence wants to tell us about the birds? It says that they are flying in the sky. So, this is predicate. So, a sentence is made up of two parts, subject and predicate. Subject is the part which tells us what the sentence is talking about. The sentence is talking about the birds. And predicate is that part which tells us what we are talking about the subject. Let's move to the next example. All the players performed well in the match. So children, what are we talking about in this sentence? We are talking about all the players. So this will be the subject. And what are we talking about the players? We are saying that they performed well in the match. So this will be called the predicate. Right? Now please, children, note that generally subject appears in the first part of a sentence. But sometimes it can also appear after the predicate. Subject may appear after the predicate. In imperative sentences, let's see. The subject of a sentence usually comes first, but occasionally it may be placed after the predicate. Sometimes the subject can also appear after the predicate. Predicate can appear as the first part of a sentence in some cases. For example, let's take an example. In the heart of the forest lived a saint. If we read the sentence and try to find out what are we talking about in the sentence, we are talking about a saint. What are we talking about? We are talking about a saint. So this will be the subject of the sentence. And what are we talking about a saint? We are saying that in the heart of the forest lived means a saint lived in the heart of a forest. This is what we are talking about, a saint. So this will be the predicate. So this is to show that occasionally subject may be placed after the predicate. Now children, please note that in an imperative sentence means the sentence which is a command, which is a request which is an advice, an instruction, a suggestion. These are called imperative sentences. So in an imperative sentence, the subject is always you, but it is not stated, it is implied. For example, sit down. This is a command. Sit down. It is an imperative sentence. So if we try to find out the subject, it is not stated. It will be you, because we are trying to say sit down. But who are we talking to? We are saying you sit down. So you will be the subject of this sentence, which is implied and not stated. Similarly, if we take the next example, pick up the paper, it means you pick up the paper. So you is the implied subject, which is not stated. So children, once again, please note that in an imperative sentence, the subject is not stated, it is implied, and it is always you. So children, in today's class, we dealt with the different topics of our first chapter, the sentence. We did the definition of sentence, we did the phrase, and we did parts of a sentence. And that is all for today. In the next class, we will do the remaining two topics of the chapter, kinds of sentences and question tags. Till then, bye.